So picture this. It's the end of the month, things are hectic, and you completely space on your credit card payment. Maybe you were traveling. Maybe you just forgot to hit submit. Maybe your autopay failed and you didn't notice. Whatever the reason, it's now 32 days late. You finally catch it, pay it off immediately, and think, okay, crisis averted. No big deal, right? It was just one payment. Everyone slips up once. And then 6 months later, you go to buy a car, or refinance your house, or apply for an apartment, and suddenly you're staring at an interest rate that's 2, 3, even 4% higher than you expected. And you're sitting there thinking, wait, is this because of that one late payment? Yes it is. And I'm gonna show you exactly how much that 32-day mistake is actually costing you. My name is Tom, and I spend way too much time thinking about how credit scores silently control your financial life. If you're someone who has good intentions but occasionally lets a payment slip through the cracks, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the thing most people don't understand about late payments. It's not about the late fee, the $30 or $40 fee they charge you. That's nothing. That's the distraction. The real damage happens behind the scenes, on your credit report, where it sits for 7 years. 7 years. According to FICO, your payment history makes up 35% of your entire credit score. That's the single biggest factor. Not how much debt you have, not how long you've had credit, your payment history. And one single late payment, reported to the bureaus, can drop your score by anywhere from 50 to over 100 points. A recent report from LendingTree found that consumers with just one missed payment average a credit score of 553, which is about 80 points lower than people with perfect payment histories. And here's what's really frustrating. The higher your score was before the late payment, the harder you fall. If you had a 780 and you miss one payment, you could lose over 100 points, just like that. Now, you might be thinking, okay Tom, my credit score dropped. That's annoying, but how much does it actually cost me in real dollars? Let me show you. Let's say you're buying a car. The average new car loan right now is around $30,000 over 60 months. According to Bankrate's data from late 2025, here's what happens based on your credit tier. If you have super prime credit, a score above 780, you're looking at around 4.88% on a new car. Your monthly payment would be about $564, and you'd pay roughly $3,869 in total interest over the life of the loan. But let's say that one late payment knocked you down from super prime to near prime, dropping you into that 601 to 660 range. Now you're looking at 9.77%. Your monthly payment jumps to $634, and your total interest? Over $8,000. That's a difference of more than $4,000 on one car, because of one late payment. And it gets worse. Let's talk about mortgages, because this is where it gets really interesting. On a $300,000 mortgage over 30 years, a 1% difference in interest rate can cost you over $60,000 over the life of the loan. $60,000. That's not a typo. And the difference between excellent credit and fair credit can easily be 1 to 2% or more. So that one time you forgot to pay your credit card for 32 days? It could literally be costing you a new car, a college fund, years of your retirement. So why do people let this happen? Why do smart, responsible people miss payments? Look, it's rarely about not having the money. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the percentage of Americans worried about missing minimum debt payments is at its highest level since April 2020. But the vast majority of late payments aren't from people who can't pay. They're from people who forgot to pay, or who didn't realize autopay failed, or who were traveling and thought they'd handle it when they got back. There's this psychological phenomenon called the planning fallacy. We consistently underestimate how long things will take and overestimate our ability to remember future tasks. You tell yourself, I'll pay that bill tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and you tell yourself the same thing. And suddenly it's day 31. The companies know this, by the way. They're not going to remind you 17 times. One notification, maybe two, and then silence until it's too late. Here's what most people don't realize about that 7-year timeline. Yes, the late payment stays on your report for 7 years. But here's the nuance that matters. The impact diminishes over time. A late payment from 6 years ago hurts way less than a late payment from 6 months ago. Credit scoring models weight recent activity more heavily. So while it's technically there for 7 years, the practical damage is most severe in the first 2 to 3 years. But here's the problem. Those first 2 to 3 years are often when you need credit the most. Buying your first house, financing a car, getting approved for a rental, starting a business. These are typically decisions people make in their late 20s and 30s, which is exactly when one dumb mistake from a few years ago can derail everything. Okay, so let's say you already have a late payment on your report. What can you actually do? First, if you catch it before 30 days, you're probably okay. Most creditors don't report to the bureaus until you're at least 30 days past due. So if you're at day 15 and suddenly realize you missed a payment, pay it immediately. You'll probably get a late fee, but it likely won't hit your credit report. Second, if it's already been reported, you can try a goodwill letter. This is where you write to the creditor, explain the circumstances, acknowledge responsibility, and politely ask them to remove the late payment as a gesture of goodwill. According to one analysis, goodwill letters have roughly a 30 to 40% success rate, with credit card companies being the most likely to say yes. It's not guaranteed, but if you have an otherwise perfect payment history and a legitimate reason for the miss, it's worth trying. Third, if you're about to miss a payment and you know it, call your lender before the due date. Tell them what's going on. Many creditors will work with you, maybe pausing payments temporarily or adjusting your due date. The key is to communicate before you're delinquent, not after. But honestly, the best solution is making sure this never happens in the first place. And here's my system. Step 1. Set up autopay for at least the minimum payment on every single account. I know some people don't like autopay. They want control. I get it. But autopay for the minimum is insurance. You can still pay more manually whenever you want, but you'll never accidentally go 30 days late because you forgot. Step 2. Set a calendar reminder 3 days before each due date. Even with autopay, you should review your accounts. Make sure the autopay went through. Make sure there are no issues. 3 days gives you time to fix problems. Step 3. Check your credit report quarterly. You can get free reports from each bureau once a year through annual credit report.com, which means you can check one bureau every 4 months. Look for anything that shouldn't be there. Catch issues before they compound. These 3 steps take maybe 20 minutes a month total. 20 minutes to potentially save yourself tens of thousands of dollars. Here's the thing that really frustrates me about all of this. The credit system punishes small mistakes disproportionately. Miss one payment by 2 days past 30 days, and you could pay an extra $5, $10, even $50,000 over the next several years of your financial life. Meanwhile, the person who never missed a payment gets rewarded with lower rates, better terms, and more options. It's not fair, but it's the system we have. And once you understand how it works, you can play the game better than most people. So here's what I want you to do right now. Go check your accounts. Make sure autopay is enabled for the minimum on every single one. Set those calendar reminders. And if you have a late payment you've been ignoring, write that goodwill letter this week. One small action today can prevent 7 years of financial consequences tomorrow. If this changed how you think about credit, hit subscribe because I make videos every week about the money mistakes that are costing you thousands without you even knowing it. Drop a comment and tell me whether you've ever had a late payment and how it affected you. I'll see you in the next one.